Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to the Friday book of the month where we take some time to be able to discuss in a short amount of time to discuss what we have been reading. And so throughout this month, we started actually in the month of April and we're continuing in the month of May. This book called The Mountain Is You. It's a very powerful book that helps us to be able to deal not only with our thought process of how we think about certain pieces, but also it helps to be able to deal with the internal, the emotional part of our lives. And it gives unto us, I believe, a different perspective of how to be able to see different things so that we can be able to have the healing and the strength that we need for the journey that we are going on. So I normally try to take out a little bit of time to be able to read a part, something that stuck out to me. I would love to be able to hear from you of what sticks out to you in this context of this book. And I'm going to read a little bit and then I'll share what I got out of this, what I believe speaks to me about this statement, and then we'll go from there. So, in the book, this is one of the statements that it made. It says, the greatest act of self love is to no longer accept a life you are unhappy with. It is to be able to state the problem plainly and in a straightforward manner. I'm going to read it one more time. It says, the greatest act of self love is to no longer accept a life you are unhappy with. It is to be able to state the problem plainly and in a straightforward manner. Now, here's the thing. In a simple statement, it states that self love, you loving yourself enough to say, I don't like this no more. Let me read it again. The greatest act of self love is to no longer accept a life you are unhappy with. So I ask myself, what areas in my life are I'm unhappy with? Is it certain things that I have allowed people to treat me a certain way? Or is it certain things that I have done? Or is it the way that I am living in totality? Is it, the way that my relationships is? Or is it the way that my money is? Whatever that is, the greatest act of self love, loving me, is saying, I don't want this no more. I don't want to live this way no more. I don't want to have this type of life no more. Not that I don't want to live, I don't want to live this way. I don't want to have that type of relationship anymore. I want this to change. I want my life to be happy. Now, I understand also when we're looking at this context of happiness, we also sometimes in our relationship with God, we lean into this context of joy, this joy that's within us, this joy that is not easily moved by outward circumstances and situations. And when we balance these two statements together, the reality is there are things that we are unhappy with in our lives that battle with the joy that sits within us. Sometimes this unhappy feeling in our lives is not only because of situations externally. Sometimes it's things that we have accepted, things that we have allowed, things that, certain conversations or ways that things have been going. We have kind of agreed to that. Now we are in a state in our lives where we are unhappy with. And we have to make the decision. Do I love myself enough to change? That's the question. So here is, I love this other part, it is to be able to state the problem plainly and in a straightforward manner. Let's be clear on what it is. Let's not just say, I'm just unhappy. But what are you unhappy with? What area of your life are you unhappy in? So then at that time, you know now not only what it is or where it is, but how now I can make the adjustments. What do I need to change? And when I want to make this statement because I know it's for me as well. Is sometimes the reason why it's so difficult at times for us to be able to figure out what it is because sometimes it makes us unhappy. But if you ask the real question sometimes is what would make you happy? And sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it's difficult for us to be able to answer that question. What if I could give you the life that you want in your relationships, in your finance, in how people treat you or situations, whatever that is, that would then make you feel happy, what would that be? And then the life that you're painting, the picture that you paint, you have to then look at and examine and say, okay, this is where I'm at. But sometimes we can't be specific enough to say this is what would make me happy. If this happened, this would make me happy. So sometimes because of that thought process and because of that posture and that position, sometimes we have set back and just lived in the position of being unhappy. And you don't have to. This statement helps us to understand that the greatest self love is to choose to change that position of being unhappy because you don't have to live unhappy. That's a choice that sometimes we both make. I love you all. And as always, I'll see you this Monday at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time right here on the Focus on Greatness podcast. Make sure you get that book if you ain't got it already. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.